and welcome back to the AHA podcast. I'm your host, Anastasia.
And I'm your host, Hannah, who, if you're watching this on video, will randomly start holding their neck because I had a nasty fall and my neck is still in bad pain. And if you're listening, you'll just hear me wince in pain. So
Girl,
enjoy.
okay, first of all, we're gonna go off total topic. I was at my dad's last night for dinner, and he was like, "Did Hannah send you that video of her falling?" And I was like, "How do you know about that?" And he was like, "She sent it to me." And I was like, of course she did. Oh my god, he was
He
so
reacted to
worried.
my story.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
reacted
yeah.
to my story, that's why. So
Oh my god, girl. Yeah, how is your
now it's
neck?
on the internet. It's all right. Now it's on the internet, so anybody who wants to go see it at
Can see
Heart
it.
Charge on Instagram can watch it. So
Oh my god. Well, girl, I am glad you're okay. That shit, you literally fell straight, dude,
yeah,
straight on your neck. And I was like, I hope she did not sprain her neck because that shit looked like it hurt
I think
so
I
bad.
did.
Girl, I think you did
Google
too
told
because
me Google told me I did, and I think I got whiplash, and I think then now, because all of the symptoms, I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate, but it's not like too bad where I'm like losing feeling in my other body parts, so there's that pro of it.
my
But
god.
yeah, let's talk about movies and stuff.
Okay,
So
well, hold on. Yeah, we're glad you're okay. Everything is fine. You're great. But so today is gonna be just a tad different. We're not gonna have a big main topic for this episode today. We wanted to do kind of like a summer roundup episode of like some of the shows or movies that we've seen and haven't discussed yet, or that we are currently watching, or that we have like on our to watch list. That way we kind of have a bit of a shorter episode. But also both of us are a little busy right now, so to at least get something out there to you guys would be better than not doing anything. So we thought like this idea was a good one. So yeah, we're gonna hop into. I kind of want to hop into at least what we're currently watching because I will say this right now and I will say it loudly. I'm somebody that rewatches. Like if shit comes out and everyone's talking about it, I'm like, I don't care because I'm rewatching the fucking same show from like 15 years ago that I can't seem to let go and it's a comfort show. And Hannah knows this from personal experience because she has given me lists upon lists of things to watch and I'm like, that's all great, but I'm gonna keep watching Criminal Minds until my brain rots and I have nothing else to watch. Um, so funnily enough, yeah, Criminal Minds is the one of the shows I'm rewatching right now. I don't know what it is. You know, everyone has that comfort show that like when you put on, you don't even have to like. I don't even have to pay attention. It's just in the background, and it's a nice comfort show. Which the fact that I'm a Stranger Things. Whoa, the fact that Criminal Minds is a comfort show to me, it might be a little concerning, to some people, but I think it's okay. So I'm currently slowly rewatching that. Um, not like sitting down and watching, more so like having it just in the background, but still technically rewatching. Um, Also, I'm rewatching Shameless because it's been a while, and I know the is it the 10th season? Like the final season came out a good amount of time ago at this point. But I totally forgot like all the events that have happened throughout the whole thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, let me just rewatch it. And I'm gonna jump ahead. The Bear is on my list to watch, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, let me at least finish off one show that Jeremy's been in. So I decided to start rewatching Shameless. And I fucking forgot how dysfunctional this family was. And the fact, first of all, that some of my friends have been telling me that I remind them of Frank, you are a piece of shit. That is so rude. Like, excuse me? No, I will not take that. That's one thing I will not take. Absolutely not. Like I was like,
out of all
that
the characters, you're the dad.
I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I don't know where you're seeing these comparisons from. I want to see the Venn diagram you have that is comparing me to that character because I don't think that flies. But anyway, yeah. So I'm rewatching Shameless, which I'm having a good time. I like, although the show is not something to watch, like with your parents, unless your parents are like totally chill with it. I don't care. But like, yeah, no. My mom's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "You know what? We're not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna move past it, and I'm gonna keep rewatching this show." But yeah, no.
Really?
I
Because
go ahead.
my
Sorry.
mom got into that show like a few years ago and was actually like enjoying it. And I was like, "Wait, mom, you're watching Shameless?" Like, I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." I watched it for a bit, but then I never finished it. But the cast is so good, and like to see them then go on to like
Mm-hmm.
other things and see them like, yeah, incredible cast, like for sure on that show.
No, yeah, that cast is prime. Like casted so well, and they all play their characters incredibly well. But also, like, I just, I don't know. I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to start rewatching before I finish the final season. Um, but anyway, like I was watching it when it was coming, and I think it started coming out like I don't even know. Let me look it up. But I remember friends in high school were like watching it or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I started watching it. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And then I don't know. You know me. I start watching shit, and then something else happens, or I lose interest, and then watch something else, and then 2 years later, I'm like, you know what? Let me watch this again. And you're like, what the fuck? Also, I lied. It's 11 seasons. My bad. Oh, it came out in 2011. Jesus Christ! What the fuck?
Mm.
Wow, that's crazy. Also, isn't this show isn't that like a British version? This is like some Office shit where like there's like a British version and then there's like a
Oh, I
US
think
version now
so.
too.
I
Sorry,
mean,
can you see cut?
I could see it. Yeah,
Sorry, she's like
she wants to be
having
invited
like a
on the show.
spasm or something. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm rewatching. I'm also so those are the things I'm rewatching. What are you rewatching anything, or are you just like watching a new show currently?
Well, you know, I have a problem. So, okay, so for rewatching stuff, it all changes. I don't have like a show that I always go back to. I collect shows that I'm like, ooh, and I'll just either watch like clips and stuff of like scenes that I like, or like a couple that I like, or or like, oh, I want to see this storyline. Um, so I haven't really like, yeah, so there's nothing to be like, oh, I'm rewatching this show because I'm currently watching shows that are coming out. There's no point to be like, let me tell you about something. Yeah. But what I'm currently watching right now is okay, let me get my brain set. Um, I'm currently watching Futurama, the newest season, because they came back after 10 years. So I just watched the latest episode last night. And I'm enjoying it because actually Futurama is one of my favorite like animated shows. And that was one I used to rewatch, but I stopped because like I knew all the jokes, so it wasn't as funny anymore rewatching that show. I was like, I need like years break on it where I forget. But even like as my little sister's rewatching it and I hear stuff and I'm like, oh, I still remember that. I still do it. I'm enjoying the new season. Nothing like laughing my ass off like out loud or anything like that, but the nostalgia and like seeing the little stuff and seeing them comment now on like things that have happened recently and more like current events is nice, and you're like, oh, I always like to see what they're doing with that and making fun of it and bringing it into the future. um and then I'm currently watching Special Op Lioness on Paramount Plus. I have to catch up on the episode that came out um this week, but it's so it stars Zoe Saldana, Nicole Kidman. It's basically like a
Oh,
special ops force. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
by
yeah.
created by Taylor Sheridan, who he's creating like so many great shows. Like I didn't realize how many shows he's like created and making like I mean, he did Hell or High Water, and that kind of like put him up because he's a great writer. He wrote Sicario, and then he created Yellowstone. I mean, just from Yellowstone, and then like 1923, 1883, all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
spin offs of just that whole universe. He's definitely making bank from that. And he wrote like the first few episodes of this show, and I kind of was just like, oh, I want to see it. I love me some female protagonists. So I was like, hey, let me just like watch it to see. And then I've been actually enjoying it. It's like really well written, well acted, and it's interesting to see this special mission that Zoe Saldana's character is pretty much like in charge of, and then you see this new like girl, so you kind of get her backstory, how she joined the Marines, and then how she came involved, and kind of like how she has to go undercover and different stuff like that. So it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. What else? Oh my gosh. I think that's it right now because I finished some shows, so it's like, and now I finished a lot of the shit that I was currently watching, which is always a great feat when you're like, yay, this is done. Or sometimes it's sad, depends on the show. um, but yeah, those are the two that I'm probably like currently um actively watching. There's not much that's like, I mean, there's some stuff on my list that I'm like, oh, I should probably watch this and check this out. But as of like right now in TV, there isn't like, I don't think there's too much right now that's happening. That's why I'm not watching as much stuff. So I seem like I'm doing good.
Okay, go
There's
ahead.
one more show. There's one more show. So I had to look at my other list.
No, you're fine.
And this is now my new favorite animated show. Even though I don't even watch that many animated shows, but this is the month. It's Harley Quinn on Max.
Yes.
The season 4, I love Harley Quinn. That's such a great show. Because I'm not a huge like animated like show person, but Harley Quinn, I'm really enjoying the new season, and I just like the way that they do that show and write it, and that's a pretty hilarious show. So yeah,
Yeah, I've been wanting to get into more animated stuff because I've been hearing there's like good stuff coming out for animation. So I've been trying to get into it, but I don't know. I don't know what is wrong with me. I can't get into it. It has to be like I don't know. I just need to try
like
more.
what?
It's on me. It's on me. It's me. I'm slipping, and I need
I
to.
mean, because you have animated, and then you have anime, and then so it's like,
No, no, I'm talking about like animated. So like,
okay, yeah, I know, just saying, but
there's a big ass fucking truck driving by.
welcome to
Okay, he's
Ohio.
gone. No, I mean like animated, like Futurama, like BoJack Horseman, like all of those types of shows that I want to get into and I should try to get into, but I don't know. I don't know. I gravitate more towards like people on my screen playing characters. I don't know why. I just want to push myself to try to watch more animated things. So that's like gonna be like a resolution for me in the new year.
What?
Like
Watch Harley Quinn. Watch Harley Quinn.
I
It's a well written. It's a little gory because it's like, they're beating people up and stuff, but it's animated gore, so it's like,
so it's not real.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's not real, but no, that one's like, and the way like, even if you're familiar, like, I mean, most everybody's familiar with like DC superheroes. Like, I mean, like growing up, you always think of like Saturday cartoons. It was a lot of like Batman,
Mhm.
Teen Titans. Like, that's kind of what everybody grew up with, is those like superheroes. So it's interesting the way that they like poke fun and make fun of like even like the superheroes, and like it's really well. I think you would enjoy it because it's like actually well written
Mhm.
and funny. So like it's not like a tip, because sometimes, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I don't really gravitate towards animated shows. I'm not watching like a whole bunch of them, but that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll enjoy it
It
then,
should
because
be
she's
yeah, I should it
her
should be
arc
good with
is really
that.
good and stuff like that, and they really like develop her character well and explore like, you know, her trying to get out of Joker's shadow, her trying to be like the baddest villain, and then now recently they're exploring like her anti-hero type of stuff, like how she, doesn't want to always hurt people. So it's like it's a pretty good like, yeah, they develop the characters well, and they feed well off of each other too. Even Joker's arc too is pretty funny and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I will okay, cool, yeah, no, I'll it's added to the list, so that's good. Um oh okay, so like I was saying, I'm yeah, always relate to everything. I'm not watching anything that's currently coming out, and I will tell you why. Because listen, let me tell you, I have been trying to get into How to Get Away with Murder for the longest fucking time in my life. Like I've been trying to get into it, and I got into it, and I binged the entire first season, and I was like, okay, season 2, let's go. I don't know what happened in my life, or I was like, I need a break, and then I just never picked it up again, and I was like, girl, what is like? I do this constantly with shows, and it's so annoying because I'm like, dude, I'm actually really enjoying the show. Why do I drop it in the middle of whatever season and I have to pick it? Like, Gossip Girl. Prime example, okay? I'm pretty sure I've seen the fucking first 4 seasons of that show 100 billion fucking times, and I've never gotten to the end. I've never. I know who Gossip Girl is. I know who it is. They exposed the person, and it's like 600 years ago that the fucking books came out and the show came out, so everybody knows. Okay. But for whatever reason, with Gossip Girl, I like always get to like season 5, like a certain episode, and I'm like, I'm over it, and I'll stop watching it. And then years later, I'm like, you know what? I want to try to watch it again, and I'll start from the beginning. I will always start from the beginning because like I don't remember. And then I start watching. I'm like, I remember all this. Why am I still sitting here? And then I'll jump to where I left off. I'm like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because I want to say I finished the show, and I can't. Like I cannot bring myself to finish the show. I don't know what it is. But I'm not talking about Gossip Girl now. I'm talking about How to Get Away with Murder. Okay, it's kind of the same thing. Like I got really into it, girl. I got really into it, God, because I'm like Viola Davis. Period. All these law students. Okay, I'm like here for it. It's like a kind of like a dose of Criminal Minds, but not really, but kind of still in the same realm. So I'm like into it. And then I like whatever happened. I was like, you know what? I need a break. And then I stopped watching it. And now I'm trying to get back. So that's what I'm trying to say in this whole tangent is that I've restarted season 1 again. And let's hope that I can get through all the seasons and finish it. If I do, I will mention it on the podcast so people know that I finally fucking finished the show. Gossip Girl probably I will never finish that show. I don't know what it is with that show. I just will never finish it. I know how it ends. I know what happens to every character. I know who Gossip Girl is, but I feel like I don't need to. But yeah, so I'm currently, but not even it's not even current a current show. But but for me, what I'm actively watching right now is How to Get Away with Murder. That long spiel just to tell you that I'm trying to get through How to Get Away with Murder again. Also,
Comment below if you think Anastasia should invest to get away with murder.
someone tell me if it's worth it. Okay, someone tell me if it's a good
I
time.
never
Not
finished that show. I never.
oh
I watched How to Get Away with Murder as it was coming out
coming
because I'm
out.
a huge Shondaland fan. So I
Oh
remember
yeah,
what lives rent free in my mind forever to the day I die is when she's like writes on the chalkboard
the
how to
opening
get away with murder. Yeah, that
iconic.
nothing more iconic than that. And I remember
Absolutely
the
not.
trailer when it played after scan, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so great. And season 1 is really great. Season 2, and then after, I kind of fell out. And also, I have to say, it's a different too method of like binging and when you're watching it weekly,
Yes.
right? Where it's like me watching it weekly, okay, an episode and 2 episodes, and then it's kind of like, oh, if I stop watching, right, then I'm like, oh, okay, didn't it? And then it's like now I have to wait for those seasons to come out on a streaming service,
Mm-hmm.
and then be like, do I want to go through? Of course, I kept up and saw like how it ended and did it, but I mean, I have moments like that too, where you're like on a show, and then for some reason you're just like you just stop, and there's really no like maybe you could really feed into the psychological reason of why I decided to stop this show or something, but sometimes you just like other shit happens and there's nothing really like enticing. So sometimes, which is bad, this is where I feed into my addiction. Or I'm like, I'm just gonna straight watch it. Or I'm like, let me just keep on it. So, because then in my brain, like the little bit of OCD in my brain of like, it's off my list. I watch that show, it's off my list. So let me just push through and watch it. So it's completely off my list. But it is harder when there's multiple seasons of a show because then you're like, "Eh, I really
Then you're
gotta
like,
keep
dude,
up
this
with it
marathon,
and
bro. You're
watch
like,
it.
fuck, I'm exhausted. But
But
No, and
you have fun. You
I'm enjoying it, girl. I am. So the fact that I was like, I fell off of the wagon. I was like, no. I was like, girl, come on now, you can do it. But also what I'm trying to finish, and you started this season before I did, and we tried to watch it. It just didn't work. You're gonna know what I'm talking about once I say it. Season 3 of The Umbrella Academy, girl. I don't know what it is. I
I don't know how
cannot.
you
I
haven't finished that.
Okay, yeah, me too. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I love that show. Like, The Umbrella
Yeah,
Academy, I
that's
fucking
why I
love that
don't get it.
show. Like, season 1 was great. I loved season 1. I also love Robert Sheehan, and I will watch everything he's in. I've watched a lot of independent movies that he's been in, and I'm like, why am I watching this? I'm like, because he's in it. And it's good because he's in it. You get that sometimes you start watching independent stuff because an actor you really like is in it, and you're like, I wouldn't have watched this if you weren't in it. Anyway, besides the point. So I loved season 1. Okay, season 1 was great. Loved it. Season 2, fucking phenomenal. Top tier. Loved season 2. I was so excited for season 3. I don't know what happened with season 3 where I just was like, I think I'm in another dimension. Like, this is not the same show that I've been watching for 2 seasons. And I don't know if. Also, I didn't finish it, so I have no idea if it was like all meant to be that way or whatever. I don't know. But I was not enjoying it. I think we got like 3 or 4 episodes in when you came over, and we were like, Also, not a good idea to watch it at like till 3 in the morning and like not have any cognizant functions in the brain while watching it. So maybe that was a thing. But even then, I even tried after that to like normally watch it with some sleep, um, to try to watch it, and I still was not enjoying it. I don't know, something about it. I was like, I don't like this season. Also, now that little boy's an old man, girl, I don't even know. Like,
Girl,
I
I
don't.
don't shit all of that information because I watched it like I over maybe 2 years. I don't even know when it came out. Like what?
Girl, like almost 2 years ago, I think.
I don't remember no. I remember little parts of that season, but you saying that, I'm like,
What?
okay.
Girl,
But
I
that okay,
really.
that you it's a lot easier than How to Get Away with Murder. That's only like what 10 episodes.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll see which one I cross off first. Could you imagine? It takes me. I finished How to Get Away with Murder before I even finished the 3rd season of Umbrella Academy. Girl. Anyway. But I don't know. I can't get. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know if the writing changed, but it's not. It's the same. It's the same people, so I'm so confused.
No, but you have a lot
Regardless,
more characters because you have Sparrow Academy.
that shit too. But oh my god, uh,
That's what. See, you're too much of a fan. That's why you can't finish it.
girl, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. We'll see. I'll keep you guys
Just push
posted if I ever
through.
finish
Just
anything. Yep,
just push through. Just keep on going. You
girl,
got this.
we'll see. I think I have to start having a system for myself where I can give myself like a sticker every episode I get through, and then eventually once I finish, it'll be something. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you. What are you motivated by? Are you motivated? Hold on. Are you motivated? Let me just my neck went bad. Are you motivated by like treats, gifts? Where you're like, well, if I watch this, I'm gonna, you
I have
know.
to bribe myself somehow. Yeah. Probably with food or some other source of happiness. Um, but anyway, that's what I'm currently watching. Bitch ain't current. That shit years ago. But what I'm actively watching now are those 2 shows that I'm trying to finish. Also, I don't know if I want to do this because I know if I start rewatching the show, everything that I just said is gonna be bumped down all the way. I've been wanting to rewatch Peaky Blinders so bad,
Mm.
but I'm like, girl, no, don't do it. If you do it, that's all you're gonna watch, and all these other things that you want to watch ain't gonna happen, bitch. Ever if you start rewatching that show. But it is on my rewatch list. Okay, that's like another comfort show. Is that show? But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not
No,
gonna do it.
All your comfort shows that have like violence and
Isn't it scary? Isn't it concerning that those are my comfort shows? I don't know what to tell you. They're comforting to me, which is not good. Some psychologist is going to be like, this bitch needs to go talk to somebody ASAP because that's not normal. Although, whatever. I'm not even, whatever. It's fine. It's totally okay. I'm totally fine. I just talked about what I'm rewatching because I have no. That's my addiction right there is rewatching shit. And then currently watching, already went through two. Do we want to talk about like a couple of shows or movies that are like currently on our like want to watch list or to watch list? Because I've got a
I
couple.
was gonna I say we can get into that, but let me just clear real quick of the movies I've watched since I'm not currently watching them, but have watched in the past, like summertime, little quick thing, and then we can get into what's on our list of what. Um, where to begin? Let me let me lay down what I've watched because I've also been traveling. Then there's some that I just watch on the plane that I'm like, you know what, like a really good one was I was surprised how much I liked it. Um, is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, with Rachel McAdams, Kathy Bates, based on the book.
Yes, yes, yes.
That was a really, it was on the plane. It was like now new feature, like, and I was like, you know what? I've got a 3 hour flight. Let me put it on, and it was really, really touching and really nice, and it had like a great message, and I really enjoyed it. And I also love Rachel McAdams. That woman can fucking do anything. So, um, and that the actress, because she played the daughter in Ant-Man, but like this is kind of her movie that's like introducing her. She is a phenomenal actress. I'm excited to see like she played that character so well because there's a lot of scenes like on her face of how she's dealing with, she's in middle school, all these people comparing about like going through puberty, like, oh, when are you gonna get boobs? When did you get your period and all this stuff? And like she played it so well, like so perfectly. And I think that's what happens when you cast somebody also around the age of the person and like, having to already deal with that like in your real life. She did like a phenomenal job. And then I watched in June was Past Lives, that A24, um, written and directed by an Asian woman. And that was a really great film. That was really good. And I even watched it with friends and they really liked it. And I mean, even that trailer is just like you're already like getting emotional of how they cut it. And they do some really beautiful, like wide shots in it that the sound person to me was like, oh, they obviously didn't like boom, like, because they're outside. That's a lot of exterior, like walking around New York City. So I was like, I wonder how much they had to like sound edit with like the water and the wind and everything. But it's so like, also everyone was saying like it's so accurately um like shows what it's like to get on a Skype call because it's these two like best friends living in China, and then the one leaves, like their family goes to America, and they kind of like had like a little romance. They go on like a cute little date when they're like young kids, and then it's kind of like, oh, they rekindle finding them on Facebook and stuff, and then they Skype call each other, and it's like in a dark room or it's not well good, and you're like, that's a Skype actual call because ain't nobody's like maybe the first call you kind of look good, but by the time like the sixth one, you're just like, hey, I'm eating here, like, oh, it's kind of like dark here at night. And as having friends from Asia who I've also like video called and doing it, even that whole thing gave me like nostalgia of those times of me like calling literally late as fuck because the time difference where you're like, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh shit, we need to go to sleep because you have to go to work and I need to go to bed. um but yeah, and it wasn't like, it was a beautiful romance movie in the sense of like how it worked, and like, hey, sometimes you do have this person in your life that you love but like you don't end up getting with, but you can still have like a nice relationship, and you can always think of like what if, right? Like, yeah, it was a really great. And then the actress in it, does a lot of like supporting roles like in the morning show, and Russian Doll, and to be able to see her leading, you're like, she's good and she needs to be leading more stuff. So it was nice to see all that in a very small cast. So it was nice to see again like how you could get away with making a film, right? Not very, huge cast, shoot it in New York City, shoot some of it like in Asia. But yeah, that was a really good film. And then I watched Haunted Mansion in theaters last week and actually had a good turnout. I mean, I went on the day where it's like cheaper movie day tickets, so it was like a nice, pretty like well packed. Like it was a smaller theater, um, well packed. Everybody was laughing. It was like a good time. Like they had really great like nods to the ride, which I mean you could tell from the trailer. They didn't have my singing head bus that I liked, but that was in the Eddie Murphy one, so it's fine. Um, but that was really the way that they grappled too on like grief. I thought was really well, like in a way that I think I'd be interested to hear because there was kids there watching like what they took from it, but even as like an adult, like it wasn't like very kiddie. I mean, the cast is like from Danny DeVito, Lakeith Steinfeld pretty much leads it. He's so good. Um, like all of them, Owen Wilson, like having such a good like range of characters, and I like too that they focus a lot on just like community and being there for each other and that friendship and like how they all try to, like and then you forget Jared Leto plays like the fucking main villain ghost. I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he's in this movie, but you don't really ever see his face that much. So I liked like that whole thing of like your found family and being there. There's a lot of really cute moments. I thought it was like a very good, enjoyable film. Like it's a good time in the movie theater, and it's definitely like anybody can watch it. I mean, there's some jump scares. I mean, I always yeah, like but there's nothing like really, really scary. Even when you find out the villain like killed a lot of people, but it's like oh my gosh, they don't really show much. Um, and then I'm almost done. Don't worry. Um, I randomly watched because I was at this conference, Dungeons and Dragons, that movie that came out a bit a while
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was really nice and enjoyable. I like that they just stay the whole time in that fantasy world because then I don't know if it was gonna be like the Lego movie where they cut to real life people playing Dungeons and Dragons and it was all like made up shit, which I like that they didn't and like definitely left up like we can definitely see these, players go on more adventures, which I know they're planning to make a second one. Um, and it had some good like humor parts in it as well. And I watched it with like a big group, so it was nice seeing people um react to it. Also because I watched it with other people who are disabled, so it was nice to see that like people who may, like everybody could find it like enjoyable and laugh at it. And it had some great action too and great like humor action as well, especially when they just at the end start beating the crap out of the villain. That was that's so funny. Um but then a movie that just came out on Paramount Plus. We love Paramount Plus here, except when they fucking deleted
Rise of the Pink
Rise of the
Ladies, but
Pink Ladies. Even though it's on the airplane episodes the one and two. But
the airlines know what's
yeah,
up.
the airlines know what's up. It's only gonna give you a taste though. Um is Zoe 102.
Bitch.
I watched because I needed a cringe movie. We were like, I didn't stay up for my flight. I was like, we need like let's just watch something. I'm like, yeah, let's just watch Zoe 102. I remember watching Zoe 101. I don't think I ever finished it. I don't remember fully going through it. I remember the news of like, how could she? She got pregnant and then they let her cancel the show. Like the drama where you're
Whatever.
like,
Yeah.
damn, that star, why'd they ruin it? This was the show. That movie was so cringe and like somebody was saying, which I think actually doesn't they even make fun of it, where it's like pretty much a movie about a person who peaked in high school. Like pretty much she's always like high school, because that's where we ended, right? So then we kind of have to live in that world of high school, and like, and my favorite is when they say like the school gets spoiler. They say the school gets shut down because of like the teaching styles. So it's like, and you're like, that's funny that they made fun of like, because when you're watching a show and you're like, how are they getting away with that in like an actual school? Like that doesn't make much sense. Um, but they have like cute little like, oh, nice moments. And maybe if I was more and I did my little like watch mojo, I would get more of the Easter eggs that they threw into it. But I don't know what's up with like the like Nickelodeon and stuff always has like weird ass like future technology that it's like, bitch, we're living in this age that that's not a phone. Like that's
That
that's not,
pear bitch,
we're not
come
even
on
at that
now.
level. Luckily, it wasn't pair, but it was like basically like if you just had like a virtual screen that just like pops up in like a little like base, like that was the phone. But it was I kept saying like every few minutes, like, what am I what am I watching? Like this is bad. Like this is just bad. Like I was just like I yeah, luckily it was a group watch because I would have definitely been like skim binging it
Game
because
binge.
it was not it was not great. It was like what the heck is this?
Girl, I could
I
have
was
told
like,
you that
there,
from the fucking
yeah.
trailer, bitch.
Well, I knew it was gonna be bad. I only watched it because it was like, you know, it's gonna be bad, but I didn't know how
Yeah.
bad it actually was gonna be, and that's what got me. Like, I'm like, wow, this was worse than I thought it was, and I already had low ass expectations for it, and it was pretty fucking bad. And then I did watch last night because you know I have problems because the Beanie Bubble, which just came out, it's on Apple TV. Why? Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at our text conversation from last night, but go ahead.
Oh yeah. Where I'm like, are you free? You should watch this movie. Cause I had it on my list, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it on the plane. I'm gonna watch it while I'm traveling, and then my siblings were like, oh, did you watch it? It's good, and I was like, really? Because I was into it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know, is it gonna be good? Cause sometimes comedies like are hit or miss, you know? Like sometimes you're like, oh, this comedy movie, and you're like, this wasn't as like good as I thought it was gonna be. I'm not gonna list any examples, but there are a few, so people don't come for me. But I love Zach Galifianakis. I love his show Baskets. Elizabeth Banks. I love I don't know, her name is slipping my mind, but she's from Succession. She's such a phenomenal actress. I'm so glad she got nominated for an Emmy. Like I love that this story because it's about like the Beanie Bubble, about like how Beanie Baby like exploded, like the Ty Warner toy company, and then how it was like so like crazy, people were buying da, 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 and then it just went like crashed. So you see the rise and the fall of it, and you see I like is we get the three perspectives of three women who played influential parts in the company, and so that was what threw me by surprise. And I like too with like they go back and forth through like the time of like, oh, the beginning, and then oh, okay, when there's company starting up or when the Beanie Babies introduced. And I like that you see like they all have like their own color, so like their characters will wear that certain color like when you're in their kind of like perspective, it does it. So I like that they played with that whole presentation of like colors and stuff like that, of like for their characters and their worlds, which I found like Elizabeth Banks character Robbie is all blue. So and the part of me of like, oh, what they must have done for like production design, like she's in like an auto shop, all the cars are like a blue and all this stuff of like to find like guys, we need this certain color palette and stuff. So I mean, most like Apple TV stuff is beautifully like their cinematography is always great. Obviously, like Apple, they got money, so like it's beautifully well done, well shot. It's written by a woman based on a book that kind of gave you more of like the darker side of Ty Warner and the BB Baby. But I like that you saw these women, and then in a bit of a spoiler, like you see them. It's not like a bad ending. You see like how they helped her when they're like you get each of their perspectives and like voiceovers of like, hey, like this is how I met him. Like he led me on, but then that you see them succeed like despite of him, and how they're like, you know what, screw you. Like I'm no longer gonna be here. Like you're basically like a selfish child. Like I'm gonna go do my own thing, and kind of see like how yes, being involved with Ty Warner kind of helped them either get a lot of money or got a better like business opportunity. So it was like really well done, and it hit me by surprise of like that perspective because I thought it was just gonna be a basic comedy movie of them being ridiculous about like making the Beanie Babies and like that whole start, but it was like way better, and it gave you a lot more interesting perspectives, that you're like, oh, I never even knew that. Like, of course, I know Beanie Babies, like, I remember coming, like, being born into, like, the fucking all the Beanie Babies my, siblings had, and all the limited editions and how that came about and why they did that to, like, have more demand for their thing. So it was a really good, well done movie. And then staying on the topic of Apple TV, because sometimes I just stay in a streaming service and I go, "What's here? Let's watch some shit while I'm here in this while I'm here in this app. What's going on here?" Is I watched Silo, which is one of the originals, which is really, really, really good. Um, Phenomenal acting all around, great writing, great directing. It's a bit of like a sci-fi thriller, which I keep finding myself watching. Clearly, I clearly like those type of shows. Um, but yeah, that one of just like the whole thing of where they're in this silo where you don't know much about it, so you're like you hear this voiceover where they make this chant of like, we don't know when the silo was made or why it was made, but we know that like we need the silo, like this building that has levels, so like the poorer people on the lower level, the richer people on the higher. So like it's interesting when they're like, I have to go down to the lower level, it's going to take me like 2 days to walk these spiral staircases to go down. But like the reason I watched it is because I watched behind the scenes of the production design, and they were like, I was like, damn, they made so many like sets like for it, like a lot of sets, like the world looks so beautiful and how much detail they went into it, that I was intrigued. And it has one of like the best pilots I've seen in a while for a drama series, so it really gets you engaged where you're like, shit, like Rashida Jones is in it, she's, yeah, she deserves more. And like she does so good in the pilot where you're like, oh my gosh, and you kind of get like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more. And so they do good playing on the mystery of the silo of like, what happens when people have to go out to clean, and you kind of get introduced to this world, and you start as like, the protagonist wanting to be more curious and figuring out if they're going to find out more information to help you figure out what the fuck is going on and what this silo really is. Um and then my last one, don't worry, I'm wrapping it up so you can obviously tell that I've been busy. Is The Crowded Room, cuz I ain't going
Girl,
to wait
you
for
in
you
the
to watch
crowded
it.
room.
We love The Crowded Room. I said I would come back on here and tell you all, like, what the fuck I had to, what it was. But it was the last 5 episodes were a lot better than the first 5 episodes, because the last five made a lot more fucking sense. And everybody I know who's watched it is like stopped and like, no, I didn't get it. I couldn't watch it. Audience reviews are really bad for it. And I'm like, and I completely understand, because I only kept in because I was like, I already invested too much time. I'm gonna see this to the end to see like, because I don't want to say here like, oh, only watch 2 episodes of this trash show. I watched all 10 episodes, and that was a kook ass show that could have been a lot better. And I feel bad because the story dilutes a lot of the great performances of it. Like Tom Holland, great ass performance. He has to have a lot of range because he's playing somebody with, spoiler, multiple personality disorder, and they're showcasing the first case where somebody pled insanity, that he was not held on charges of shooting a firearm because everyone witnessed then in the courtroom that that man was fucking insane. So they're like, the first time it was ever pled on it. But because the first 5 episodes were giving you the backstory, and because of his alters or different personalities are played by other actors, you're confused because you're like, something's off, but you're like, okay, I'm trying to understand these backstories of all these characters, because you're following him being interviewed after he gets in prison. And then it isn't until episode 6 you see, oh, the therapist, Amanda Seyfried's character's, backstory of why she's here, why she, like, her investment in the case and wanting to help him and figure out these alters and what kind of thing he has, because at that time, multiple personal disorder would, like, nobody really claimed it as real. So like even the psychology people were like, no, that's not a real thing. So her character, and then you get to see more of Emmy Rossum, who plays the mother of Danny Sullivan, which is Tom Holland's character. So then you start seeing the real world without all this fucking shit, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what's going on now, this is making sense. And then you get the trial, which is exciting, of seeing like what they're using against, of like the issues that Emmy Rossum's character is in an abusive relationship, and how like is she gonna help her son and say that he was abused and all this different stuff. So it's like you're like, yay! But you lost so many people, and they could have easily combined those first 4 episodes of backstory into like 2 episodes, and then really got into actually what was happening. Because as an audience, like I said, if you're meant to make me confused, it very much worked of like being put into his thing of, oh, I'm believing Danny Sullivan to make me more empathetic because this is what I've been presented. That you wonder if it would have worked presenting it in a different way where, hey, we're learning his story, right? But we didn't need to learn it for that long to be like, oh, okay, something's up, and then have him go. Because it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're like, this is nuts, this is crazy, what is actually true? And then you actually find out what's true, and then you're like, okay. And they had an interesting way of also showing like how the alters would take over his like mind. Like the way they shot that was an interesting way of doing it, where it was like based in a barn because that's where he was like abused. So then they would come in the spotlight, and then seeing them like Tom Holland, then actually seeing him play those alters instead of the actors, then you're like, wow, like that he did a great job of doing it. But it took a long time to figure out what the fuck was going on. And I would just say watch like literally like the pilot and then just skip to the fucking end. Like I literally, that's what I would recommend, because then you find out all the important shit at the end that you didn't really need to watch like in the beginning. So it was not meant. Okay, I lied. There's one more because I saw is they cloned Tyrone. That was a really good
Uh-huh.
movie. That's on Netflix. That came out when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, but that was people were more focused about that. But Jamie Foxx is incredible. John Boyega,
Oh,
Teona, they all three are so good that everybody's like, this trio is so fucking good. They need to be in more
like all
shit. Like
together,
they
yeah.
just and it they do play with like, you're not quite sure like, oh, this is present time, but they're wearing like older clothes and stuff. But like it's a sci-fi like thing, and it's an interesting play on how they think of like this conspiracy that's happening like underneath this like ghetto neighborhood of like how they're like implaying in it and like affecting things. And like, yeah, it's really good. And I don't want to say too much because it's like a good one to watch and see like the surprises and them figuring out, but it's like absolutely hilarious. And yeah, John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, Tanoa Paris, like they do some great work in it. And Tanoa Paris, like I loved her in WandaVision. I'm
Oh
excited
my
for
god,
her in the
yeah.
Marvels. Like, and this her, you see her in a different role, and she does so good because she kind of plays like a hooker, like a prostitute, and she's so funny. And like they're also devoted to their characters that the humor works so well. And they said that they improved a lot of stuff, and they're actually like showing bloopers and like. And John Boyega's like, I had to be more serious, and it was so hard, like not to break because Jamie Foxx is going off on so much stuff because he's such a great improv like artist. So you're just like, but it was, yeah, really enjoyable, fun little sci-fi thing that was like, damn, yeah. I hope people go watch it because it is really enjoyable, and it's a nice like whole piece too. You don't feel like, oh, things are unanswered or stuff like that. You're like, shit, I could watch this. Like, even if they were to expand, I would be interested in seeing like where they go with it.
So my list is not too long. Well, I just added Harley Quinn to my list, so she's on there. I did mention The Bear. I wanted to watch that show. And then you and I were talking last night, because uh what's it called? Jesus Lord, my brain stopped working. I really wanted to watch Dickinson. I don't remember how I started to watch it. I think I like did like a trial or whatever because of that show when it first came out. Because I really like Haley Steinfeld. I really liked her in Hawkeye, and I like her in a lot of the stuff that she's done before. And so when the show was coming out, I was like, okay, a period piece, I'm here for it. Like, I want to watch this. And then I started watching it. And then the thing that happens in my brain that always happens, is I like fell off of the wagon of it. And then now, is it concluded, or is it
Mhm.
just
It's
okay? Yeah,
done.
okay. I think that's also what
It's
made me
done.
want to like finally watch the entire thing because it is done. So that's on my list. And it just looks. Oh my god! I just remember the couple episodes that I watched when I was watching it, and I loved it, and I really want to finish it. So that show's on my list, and then I have two movies on my list that I want to watch. I really want to watch Talk to Me, which is the new horror film from A24, which looks so good and so terrifying, and I can't wait to go watch it. I remember watching a video. I think I first saw like a couple clips on TikTok where the creators were sharing the news of the fact that A24 was picking it up. Oh my god! And they all looked so happy, which girl, I can't even imagine getting that call that like A24 is picking up your movie. Um, but they were also excited, and people were crying, and everyone was so happy. And I was like, I'm going to support this movie. I don't even care what it is. I want to support these people. And then the trailer dropped, and I was like, okay, this looks really cool, and I am intrigued by the whole story plot of it and that whole mummified hand. I was like, what the fuck? Where did you even get that? That's some weird estate sale shit that I would never buy, bitch. Like, what the fuck? Um, but it looks really good, and I'm excited to watch it. Um, and then the final thing on my list is A Good Person with Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh. I know that came out like a hot minute ago, but it's still on my list, and I still really want to watch it because it looks really good, and Florence Pugh is in it, and I will watch literally anything she's in. So that's on my list too. And she chopped her hair off for it, so I was like, you know what? She deserves support. So that's really my list. Pretty short, but
I mean, there's nothing that I'm like that's coming out this month that I'm like the month of August. Okay, somebody just blow your train horn or your fucking Ford fucking 150.
I
Okay.
didn't hear it, girl. You're good.
Oh. But there's nothing really I'm like, ooh, I forgot that I started currently watching, which I didn't even watch the first season. I think I watched like a clip. Was The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Girl.
And I don't know why I started getting invested in this show where I'm like, I would like watch clip and I'm like, oh, I want to see this full episode, and then I was like, mm-mm. So I'm excited for the finale of that show to see, if she chooses anybody, what's gonna happen with the house. Oh my gosh, the drama.
Girl, I don't know what
And
you're talking about.
they got picked up for a third season. So, but yeah, I was like, why am I watching this show? I mean, I'm interested to see if it's good. The Red, White, and Royal Blue, which literally comes out like this week
Oh, yes.
on Amazon Prime. Like, cause I'm like interested, like, is this gonna be good? I love me, sometimes a cringe like romance thing. The thing is, I think I should go support it. I'm not like ooh ooh ooh, but like it's exciting, like being like a Mexican superhero like Blue Beetle. And I like that the whole family aspect of it, and it comes out the 18th, but I'm not hugely like, ah,
Oh,
what?
I'm so excited. I don't know what, girl. That was like the first DC movie that looked actually pretty good. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, because it's after the Snyder stuff. It's now with like, that's like like made under like James, like, I think like
Yeah.
more under James Gunn stuff of like, even though I'm pretty sure they might have shot it like before, like the Flash that came in and all that whole shit and did like cuts and reshoots and stuff. But um, I I'm super duper excited for Gran Turismo. No, just kidding. I need to stop. That trailer needs to stop playing. So I'm excited for that trailer to stop playing during the.
The
It's the one with
previews.
Orlando Bloom and
Yes,
David
bitch, and there's
Arbor.
NASCAR, and that I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, can we stop? But also, did not help that I was going to the movie theater every single fucking day, like one
Right.
after the other, to keep watching it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I cannot watch this trailer one more time. Like, somebody put me out of my misery. Like, I cannot watch Orlando Bloom talk to these. And then fucking David Harbour also is in there playing whoever the fuck. I don't even know. The trainer, I don't know. But I was like, dude, this fucking movie, I'm like, Can it come out already so we can so I can stop seeing the trailer and the previews, please?
Yeah, same. That's the same with the last voyage of the Demeter with like the Dracula on the ship. I was like, I don't,
Oh, girl,
don't do a lot of horror shit. So I was like, can they not? I don't want to see that fucking Dracula looking ass shit. I don't want to be seeing this. But I'm seeing here that's coming out this week. I might watch Heart of Stone, which is that new action with Gal Gadot leading it.
uh-huh,
Like
uh-huh.
maybe if I just want something because I don't want to go to sleep, or I should go to sleep and I just want to put something on and watch while I lay in bed, maybe. But I mean, there is only Murders in the Building, which I need to catch up on that
Oh
show,
yeah, oh yeah.
which like came out and stuff because I'm trying to think show wise, but so we don't talk too much off of people's ears and keep this episode too long. But I mean, I'll come back and be like, guys, I forgot the show is coming out and I'm watching it. So
Yeah, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up? Because we're about to hit an hour. So,
I forgot that I did write on this list because obviously I make lists and I don't ever look at them. Is I was gonna say because I somehow I'm like into fucking Apple TV is the last thing he told me.
oh girl,
I was disappointed in that show. But that's when we do a reflect of the list of like shows that I was disappointed I thought were gonna be better. Because I love Jennifer Garner and I love the young actress, but the story was like they could have even trimmed it. Yeah. So we'll just end with disappointment. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's a great
But
place to
that's
end.
all.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We've hit exactly an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up on this episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. If there's any shows or movies you want us to talk about or react to in future episodes, let us know. And yeah, we will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.